In this video, we'll be starting to go over our Facebook ad sequence, beginning with launch or test ads. I'm going to explain the concept to you, and then I'm going to show you an example of one of my very successful campaigns utilizing this method. Okay, so let's talk about the launch phase of our Facebook ad sequence. Now, your launch phase will be the first ads you set up, and you're using these ads to test the viability of your product. You want to know that your product is a winner before you even think about scaling. And so what do we look for with these ads? Well, we look for a high ROI up front. I like to look for 300% and above. We look for great engagement on the ad, and then we look for viral reach. Now, the last two are really important. Is your product going to be a product that gets the user talking, that causes them to either tag their friends, to share that with friends, or to make some other comment that would signify that they really are interested in the product? Or is it just a product that doesn't really appeal to a lot of people? And that's something very important to know up front. Now, for our launch ads, we start with our buying targets, our very, very targeted groups. We will stack those buying targets into kind of just like a larger ad set. And then we segment out ages in the ad set. So for each ad set, you're going to have a segmented age. It might be 18 to 25 and then 26 to 31, or what have you over the course of your ads. I like to split mine by 10 years just getting started out. We're also going to split test mobile and desktop, and then we'll start it off with a low budget. Now, I'm going to give you a look at a few of my campaigns utilizing this method, and we'll take a look at what happened, what went right, and why it went right. I want to state right off the back, however, that I did not follow what I'm telling you now in this campaign. I didn't split mine by age starting up front, and you're going to see how that hurt me and why now I tell students to split by age when they're just getting started with their campaign. So let's go ahead and take a look at what happened. Alright guys, so before we get into the ad itself, I want to start off with what is usually people's most question, which is how much did we sell over the course of this campaign. And so let's go ahead and take a look at this particular, it's a shirt that was selling. And so let's go ahead and see the shirt started on February 16th. And this will be our fishing shirt. So let's go ahead and take a look at the report. Alright, so this is the I'd rather be fishing shirt with the blank spaces and whatnot. We ended up selling about 669 of those on the front end, and it brought in $17,000 for us. So let's go ahead and take a look at the ads and let's see how all of this came to pass. Okay, so we are live with the campaign. The first thing that I want to mention is that Facebook's conversion tracking is so off, it's not even funny. And then the second thing that I want to mention is that I did not take my own advice, and so I split test my interest out instead of my ages, which was a huge mistake, and you'll see how that ended up hurting me in the long run when I got into my scale phase. So let's go ahead and take a look at some of the interest here, and then we'll go ahead and take a look at the report overall and get into the scaling phase, how to scale when you have a winning offer. One thing I want to point out before I click into a few ad sets is that this is one of our buying interests, right? I went after the magazines, and it turned out that they worked reasonably well for me. I had a lot of them split tested out by interest, which again is not something that I recommend doing up front. I always recommend that you stack the targeted interest and then split test out by age. So let's go ahead and click into an ad set and see what we have here. So you can see my targeting, the field stream 21 to 45 and the United States on the newsfeed. Let's take a look at the ad itself. A very simple ad. I think this ad reached about 2 million people overall. So not bad in terms of reach. Now, one of the things that I never ever judge my ads off of will be my click-through rate. I'm only interested in ROI. So how many sales is this particular ad producing, if any? And if it's not, then I kill it. If it is, and I'm positive of my ROI, then I leave it on. Because at the end of the day, this is about making more money than you spend. So let's go ahead and take a look at some of my stats, and then I'll explain why they're happening. The first thing I want to point out is our optimized CPM. It's drastically lower than a lot of things that you'll see nowadays, specifically because of the way that we target. So, I'm targeting Fieldstream, which is a fairly popular magazine, and my age ranges are 21 to 45. So this is going to be my estimated daily reach, right? 2,700 people to say 100 people. And this is my estimated reach overall for this audience size, 730,000. And so let's take a look at what's happening. Because this size is so large, because my budget is fairly low, what I'm now doing is forcing Facebook to optimize within this audience size. And because it's so large, they're not really confined to the type of person they have to optimize to, as opposed to if I was, say, targeting an interest that only has 20,000 fans, I would have to compete for those 20,000 fans. Now, since I have such a large audience of 730,000, I'm not forced to compete for anything. Facebook could go ahead and optimize any one of those 730,000 people, and then I could pay less because now Facebook's optimizing for so many that I'm not really competing for. Okay, and I hope that's making sense to you. And so the mindset behind this is to kind of stack your very, very targeted interest and then allow Facebook to optimize within that large number. Because the interests are targeted, and since they are buyers, you're going to see good results, but you're also going to end up paying less, which is what happened here. So let's go ahead and take a look into another ad set. Let's just do this by reach. The mystery tackle box. Now, this is another one of the buying interests that I pointed out. I believe this is an online subscription service, and they're pretty much proven buyers. Again, my OCPM is $2.31. Let's take a look at my estimated audience size. It's about half of what the other one is, and I'm paying about twice as much OCPM. And now, those numbers aren't always consistent based on interest. You have to remember that I'm not only competing for people who are interested in mystery tackle box. A person could be interested in this as well as dogs, and now I'm also competing with the advertiser who is targeting somebody that's interested in dogs and also happens to be interested in the mystery tackle box. And so we have to keep that in mind moving forward. And it appears this ad performed a little bit better in terms of click-through rate, and especially in terms of relevance. And again, because my audience is relatively large and because I'm not being forced to compete for any number of people, I'm getting a lot of reach for a low cost. And because of that, I don't really need to have like a 9,000% click-through rate in order to see really, really solid results. Let's take a look at the review overall and let's kind of see what happened with this ad. And then we'll get into the scale phase, and I'll show you guys some of the cool things that happened when you find your winning offer and when you really hit the nail on the head. Okay, so this report's loading, and I'm just going to kind of give you a top-down view. Over the course of this campaign, it looks like we reached about 178,000 unique people. And we got 8,000 clicks on our ads. Our click-through rate, not the best. We spent about $500. Okay. Now, our cost per reach, cost per 1,000 people, $2.84 across the board. Cost per click at 4 cents, and cost per unique click at 6 cents. We have a lot of actions on our ad, and that's because we are targeting just a whole lot of people, a whole lot of targeted people, and we're now allowing Facebook to kind of optimize within that. So while they're not really forcing us to compete for traffic, it doesn't mean that traffic is any less relevant or any less likely to respond to our offer. Let's go ahead and take a look at the scaling interest, and I'll show you guys the scaling ad for this particular shirt, and we'll break down some of the things that happened.